It was perhaps the greatest senior day in the history of senior days at North Central College, and we'll explain why momentarily. Hi, I'm Charlie Edward. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. The men's track and field team was on last week. Now we'll say hello to the women's track and field team. Kari Kluckhohn, Liz Composto, and Sade Gant in today. But hey, how about that North Central baseball team? Twice they won in walk-off fashion. A doubleheader against North Park that went down to the wire in every way possible. 7-6 in Game 1 and 3-2 in Game 2. To add, both came with 2 outs remaining. The opener sounds like something out of baseball lore. Score tied 6-6, 2 outs, bases loaded, bottom of the 9th. Bobby Smith at the plate, and his liner to right field barely falls for the game-winning run. Then in Game 2, down 2-1 going into the final inning, Richard Concioli notched a clutch 2-out base hit that scored Sing Fong for the tie. In the bottom of the 10th, Sam Klein, another 2-out single that extended his hit streak to 18 games, and that won it for the Cardinals. On the road at North Park, North Central completed the sweep, which means a win in the upcoming 3-game series against Carthage can clinch NCC its first CCIW championship since 2010. The men's tennis team had lost 8 meets in a row heading into the final home matchup of the season versus Millikan. The question was, would they break the losing streak? Let's find out. What do you think men's tennis coach Nick DeFalco is telling his team? Probably something along the lines of, let's snap this 8-match losing streak. Number 1 doubles, Oliver Mays and Alex Vasic versus Noah Klump and Connor Sachs. It's 2-0 Millikan, NCC trailing early, but Mays mowing down the big blue with his serve. Now 7-5 on match point. Vasic serving this time. The return by Sachs is mowed down again by me. Sorry. Game, set, match, 8-5. NCC. Coach DeFalco is pumped and still confused why Mays, spelled M-O-E-W-S, is not pronounced Maves, like Taves. That's not an issue in our number 2 doubles match. Connor Sass and Ryan Deckel taking on Emmerich Fulton and Jimmy Page, all names pronounced the way they're spelled. We pick things up where it's 4-1 North Central. All 4 players get a hit here, but in the end, Sass with a quick reaction to take Game 6, 5-1. Forward another game, and it's 6-1. Sass once more saying, "Don't you sass me." He smashes Fulton's shot to go up 15-love. NCC wins this game, it's 7-1. Later, match point, Deckel with the serve. He and Page volley back and forth, but Sass with the near-court hack for the match. 8-1, another NCC winner. In number 2 singles, Sass back at it against Fulton. Sass works the scoreboard to 5-3. We look to match point. Sass gets the service winner to end it. That ever-evasive 15-point, 3-6, 6-3, 6-3. NCC adds another match to win the meet, snapping an 8-match losing streak and playing Augustana in the conference tournament on Thursday. The men's tennis team takes to Kenosha, Wisconsin for the CCIW championships next. Well, recently it was announced that a men's lacrosse team is coming to North Central College, but while the women's lacrosse team is about to share the spotlight with another team for the first time, there was no sharing of said spotlights when the inaugural all CCIW lacrosse teams were named this week. Gina Fisher, Rebecca James, and Claire Norfleet, 3 players taking the honors, with Fisher being voted the conference's Offensive Player of the Year. And it was an incredible one, too, to say the least. 59 goals, 79 ground balls, and 67 draw controls, adding to an already ridiculous resume. The postseason with Carthage is next on the slate. Here's a funny-sounding line. Luke Winder finished in 3rd place at the Drake Relays. 16 feet, 7.5 inches, only enough for 3rd. Luke Winder never finishes 3rd. Granted, this was against some of the nation's best, including top Division I athletes. The 3rd place finish was North Central's best finish in any event, if that puts it into perspective for you. The talent level was off the hook. A split squad meant some took part in the Benedictine University Twilight Invite, where North Central placed first in 4 events, 143 points, won it all for the Cards, with Richie Rusk winning the 800 at 1:54.07 seconds, and Nick Friedrich winning the javelin throw again, a distance of 178 feet, 5 inches. Now they split up the women again too, and we'll talk about it soon because Kari Kluckhohn is next on TCR.
Please have a seat. I'll be honest. Your resume is not what I'm used to.
I know.
Okay, so what would you bring to my company?
What do you need? I need a hard worker.
Good. I've got 2 part-time jobs and I help my parents pay the bills.
I need problem-solving skills.
I got through high school without a car, a phone, or a computer.
No college degree, though.
Not yet, but life's taught me a lot and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find, cultivate, and train a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
The coach that helped lead North Central to a second-place finish at the Benedictine University Invite is here. Kari Kluckhohn with us on the Cardinal Report. Kari, nice to see you.
Nice to see you again.
And I'm so interested lately to know, between recently SIU Edwardsville and the Wheaton College meet, both going on at the same time, so interesting to figure out, as a coach, how much planning goes into deciding who goes where.
Well, it takes a lot of planning to do that. We've gotten to the point within our program this year that our top-end athletes that are nationally ranked need to be able to have some higher level of competition to prepare for the national championships. So this year I made a primary focus to be able to make sure they had that type of competition. That's why we went to SIUE with our basically probably top 10, top 12 athletes, and but still kept that team concept and the opportunity to compete at Wheaton, which is where conference is this weekend for the rest of the team, so they were comfortable being in that environment, seeing some of the conference teams that we're going to be seeing this weekend.
It's like figuring out a puzzle. It really is. You have so many decisions to make, and it's so interesting to see where you go with those decisions, but there's also a decision for you in the process too. You have to figure out which meet you want to attend. Is there a process that goes into deciding which one is more beneficial for you to be at?
It really comes down to which athletes we take where and what my other coverage is from my other coaches. I chose to go to SIUE with the group, and we kind of split up our coaching staff on the weekend. Coach Mahesh, our head cross country coach, stayed at Wheaton with the rest of the team, as well as one of our graduate assistants and the rest of our staff. I really wanted to be able to kind of talk them through the national level experience of going to the Division I meet. And then last week we actually split up again. We went to Hillsdale College with Megan and the distances, and then we kept everybody at Benedictine. We were going to take a bigger group to Hillsdale, but the weather wasn't good for sprinting, so we chose to stay at Benedictine. But then I was going to stay at Benedictine no matter what, so I could see the whole team and be able to kind of bring them all together and focus towards conference and be able to make my last evaluations off of who will be in the conference lineup.
Yeah, I was going to mention, you did have a split squad, so to speak, between Benedictine and Hillsdale, but Megan Costanzo was mostly there by herself, competing alone, and it did not seem to affect her, did it? In fact, beat her own personal best time by 46 seconds. That is absurd.
Well, she actually set the school record as well, and well, should be able to get into the national meet with that time. The goal of that meet was specifically to qualify for nationals. The week before taking her to SIUE prepared her to be able to compete at a higher level for that specific meet. And the weather was perfect for the 5K. It wasn't the same for the sprints or the field events. So we made the right decision to send her with Mahesh alone. Is
it strange to you that she just seems to keep setting these personal best times? It seems like a regularity with Megan Costanzo every week. It seems, I'm reading, she's breaking her own personal record yet again. Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I really feel it comes down to preparation over the course of time. If you're consistent with your training, you follow the plan that you're supposed to be following. She's very driven, and she just, day by day, she takes it and has big goals, but she's also one of those people that actually will try to implement the goal, just to hit the goal, and she's been doing great. Is there ever any worry in sending an athlete to a big event all alone? Is there anything that goes into it psychologically for an athlete to be there by themselves with no support? No. She had her event coach there. No, we do mental imagery with our team twice a week. We talk a lot about being able to perform on your own, because that's what nationals is. You end up with a group of people, but we don't end up with 60. So you have to learn how to compete in those environments to be able to handle the national stage. So I put people in those positions, one, to prepare them for that, or two, if they are capable of it already, just to be able to give them the practice. I had no concern at all with sending her. Well, Megan, clearly no reason to be concerned seeing the way she ended up performing. You may have also witnessed another record being broken. Lena Baker, 182 feet, 9 inches. You might have been there to see it.
Safe to say she had a pretty good day.
Yes, she did an excellent job. She has loved that hammer since she put it in her hand. So she's one of the hardest workers that I've seen within the throws, and she's day in and day out, 1 to 2 day practices depending on the day. But really all of our hammer throwers, almost every one of them had set personal bests. So it was a great environment for all of them, for her and for the whole group. They just really fed off of each other and really wanted to compete. It's a perfect timing going into conference.
Throwing in general has been something else for your team. Haley Falzerano, she finished first in the javelin throw too.
Yeah.
Does it go back to Chelsea Armstrong and her influence that she has on the players out there?
Yeah, we actually have 2 throws coaches now. Chelsea has been with us since indoor. When our throws coach accepted a full-time position, she took over and has been very motivational, very hands-on as a coach with the student athletes, the women and the men. And she threw with some of them, so they know her as an athlete as well, but they really respect her as a coach. Our second throws coach is Jane Vatchev. She was the head coach at COD for many years. And between Chelsea and Jane, they split up the events and split up their time through the week so everybody gets coached. So that just having that attention from 2 coaches and really being able to focus on technique has really been a big benefit for them.
Well, it's not the usual coach-player connection between Chelsea Armstrong and Ebony Stallworth, seeing as the 2 are former teammates. It's a story of transition on this week's Cardinal Corner.
It's an experience comparable to becoming coworkers with a friend. The first question that comes to mind is, how will it change the relationship, if at all?
It hasn't changed at all. I mean, honestly, we do joke around, but at times when it's time to get serious, then we will.
Ebony Stallworth and Chelsea Armstrong shared a spot on the women's track and field roster in 2012. In 2015, Stallworth is a senior, and Armstrong, who graduated back in 2012, is now her coach.
It was a little awkward right off the bat because there were obviously some athletes that I had a prior experience with just being on the team.
Being that she was a former teammate, Stallworth was certainly one of those athletes.
Coaching Ebony has actually been fantastic. She's one of the most coachable people I've ever met in my life. She definitely has a will that she wants to do her best, and she's going to do everything possible to make that happen.
Yeah, I see the same thing when we were on the same teammates together. I would look up to her, and she would honestly show me some of her ways and form and technique, and I'll try to incorporate that. But then as a coach, she's actually now showing me and teaching me exactly how she did it.
Armstrong's ways are proven successful by her. The 4-year varsity ladder winner graduated second all-time in the hammer throw and 20-pound weight throw.
To come in with the fact of I was a thrower, a lot of times that's a huge difference. With throwing, that's such a specialized event, a lot of times you get coaches who they've never actually done it or they haven't participated in it.
And all of her expertise hasn't gone to waste, especially not on Stallworth.
She's been an All-American, and I was happy enough this past indoor season to be the coach in the box with her. And, to be there through the ups, the downs, the anxiety of on whether or not she made it.
Chelsea Armstrong, you're on deck.
With the outdoor season coming to an end, the hope is to do it all over again.
For outdoor, we're shooting for the same thing, to get back to nationals and to do it again, all over again.
The wait won't be long. Canton, New York, May 21st. This unique coach-player combo will fight to do it again at Outdoor Nationals 2015.
In your view, what was Chelsea like as a coach versus her time as a player? Because you saw them both, and I think you have a pretty good insight into that.
I knew she was a leader when I met her, when she came into North Central as a freshman, and she's still that person now. She was more than willing to be a strong mentor as well as a coach. She's not all about just performance. She's definitely about development and being able to help people grow over the course of their time here. So she's just, even as a captain, you could just see that she would be a great coach. The women and the men look up to her and respect her opinion, and I'm really thankful that we have her.
Well, I'm going to take your insight on coaches a little bit further after the break. More with North Central's long-tenured track and field coach, Kari Kluckhohn, next.
So they say it's a man's world? Well, I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were out doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. We changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Welcome back to the Cardinal Report, and another welcome to Kari Kluckhohn. Kari, at the end of that last segment, we talked a bit about Chelsea Armstrong, but let's go back a little bit further. You've been here for 13 years. You've seen a lot of players turn into coaches. Who are some of the best, you think, in your view?
Oh boy, people from our team, we've had several that have gone into both the high school and the college ranks. Joanna Wilson is a head coach over at Naperville North High School for girls track and field, and she's done an exceptional job over there. She ran for me in the 4x4 national level 4x4 and was on our school record at the time as well. Lauren Brightmore is one of our graduate assistants, and she's been a loyal North Central track and field athlete and coach since, I don't even know, 2007 probably, for quite a while now, and she's just a true champion of North Central. We have Rachel Williams, Rachel Chapman over at Aurora University as well. She was a high-end athlete for us and has done an excellent job coaching over there. And Rachel Seacrest is the pole vault coach at Benedictine University, and she's just done such an excellent job with their program. So we're very happy to have several local coaches.
It's amazing you were able to reel them off so easily just off the top of your head like that. It says a lot about your memory. How about Lena's confidence, though? Go back to Chelsea and her coaching. She saw Lena Baker with the 4th best throw in all of D3 this season. So the influence there, Lena has to have some very high confidence right now.
Yes, she does. I mean, she loves the hammer, like I said before. She will do everything she can to be at the best that she can be going into the national meet. When I took her down to SIUE, it was a good opportunity for her to compete against Division I athletes and to be able to kind of get that feeling of what nationals will be like. She's very prepared for it. I think that there's a couple things she's working on within her actual throw itself that we saw improvement on this week when she was throwing. So she's very excited going into this championship season.
Speaking of the championship season coming up very, very shortly, very exciting time of year. The outdoor championships on the way. You've won a couple of them in a row, but this year you haven't won a meet yet going into it. The past couple of years it was always first place finish, second place finish, and you were really hitting your peak going into the championship season. This year, not exactly the case. What's it going to take to really hit your peak now?
Yeah, part of that is based on selection of meets, because our first meet we'd only had a couple days of practice, so we used it as a practice meet. The next meet we split our squad between Chicagoland and Benedictine. So some of our top women didn't do everything they would do at Chicagoland. Then the next week we split our squad again. And then this past week, the whole meet didn't actually happen because of the weather. And we pulled several sprinters out. So we actually haven't had a meet where we've put everybody in the same environment to be at our very best by points. But with that, we have put people in the right positions for the meet selection that I've had to have them be prepared for this weekend. They're very team-oriented, and sometimes that comes down to splitting the squad to make sure that we're 100% ready for conference and nationals. Really, they are ready. Their mindset is great. They're very team-minded. They're very selfless athletes. We talk about being a big person. Small goals makes a small person, and big goals and working towards that, puts us in a position to be at the best that we can be. Just from everything I see, we're ready to go.
To be the best, though, you're going to have some of those borderline athletes find their way to really make a stride in a very important part of the year. Are there any borderline athletes you can think of right now that really have a chance to come out from underneath the radar?
Yeah, I think we have several, actually. We're not known as a 1 or 2 person team that gets all the points off of a couple people. We're a team-minded program, and we score, right now on paper, 20 of the 21 events. In that, we have typically 1 to 4 people that can score per event. So you want the big point people, the ones that you see on the national list. But when you look at the depth people in the team, I think Jess Sutphin is one of those people that you can see. She's scoring right now in the heptathlon, the 400 hurdles, and she's right on the border in the 100 hurdles as well. She's someone who has developed very, very well over the course of the year. I think you look at our sprint squad, we have people in position both anywhere from the 100 up to the 400, the 800 as well. We've got women that are right on the cusp of scoring, if not already scoring. Really, every event area, throws, pole vault, our pole vault group had really stepped it up last week. I think that you're going to see great things out of them this week. So I don't really I did give you one name, but I don't really like to point out specifics on that because it comes down to a team effort at conference.
Well, big effort's going to need to be made because it's a 10 a.m. start time for both days. And I know the team is used to practicing Monday, Wednesday, Friday late in the days. Does the 10 a.m. start time affect the team at all, especially considering it's on both days?
No, really the only people that go that early are the heptathletes, and they're used to competing in the hep earlier like that. Most of the events start in the late, like 11, 12 o'clock or even later. Like the first day will go until like 7:30 at night. So a lot of the competition is based on what their typical time is. But we've prepared, we talk a lot about nutrition and good rest, stress management for the 2 weeks leading up to conference, making sure that you've hydrated well going into the 2 days of competition. That's why you have some meets that are day meets and some meets that are night meets during the season, because then they learn how their body adapts to that and to be able to prepare, fine-tune going into the conference championship season.
And final question for you. Just want to know, considering the fact that, like we mentioned, still haven't won a meet yet this season, but there's always a chance you'll get hot at just the right time. Simple question, is the best still yet to come for this team?
Oh, I'm sure of that. We peak always at conference championship to national time. So our team, the other meets are all in preparation of the championship season. Our women are physically and mentally ready for it. So I think you're going to see some great things this weekend.
And I'm hoping to see some great things from you. Thanks for being on.
Thank you.
All right, Liz Composto and Sade Gant are next. Don't go away.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
And now are Liz Composto and Sade Gant. Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you.
And thank you for being on. Big question for you. You didn't place at Benedictine, third at the Dawn Church, second at the Eagle Invite, and second at the Chicagoland Outdoor. Good placing, but you haven't won a meet yet. What do you have to do to change that moving forward, especially with championship season here, Liz?
I would say it's just about team cohesion. It's putting all the eggs in one basket here at conference. We like Coach said, it's all about the preparation. So each meet is just kind of training, getting the kinks figured out before championship season.
At Benedictine, you didn't place, but you had a teammate, Courtney Meyer, who had a great day. Does it take pressure off of you? Because in every sport, that's always the talk. You can't have just one athlete doing one thing all the time because it's going to put a big load of pressure on that athlete. For you, it seems, Courtney Meyer steps up. She's a young player, young athlete. She did the job that day and really took the pressure off you, didn't she?
Yeah, she, great teammates. I love working with all the pole vaulters. We have a great atmosphere every meet, every practice, and seeing her kind of peak at the right time is really, really exciting to see.
Sade, a lot of the team missed out on testing Wheaton's track with half gone at SIU during the Dawn Church. You think that may be a detriment to the team or not? Because we had Derek Nelson on last week. The talk a lot was about how do you get used to a track? You have to be on it. You didn't get a chance to be there this week. Do you think it'll affect you at all?
When we get there, the whole team does things where we walk the track. We look at where the starting line is. We see where the finish line is. We look at the exchange zone. We look at their blocks and just different things like that. So we get acquainted with it. We did run there once in the beginning of the season for the very first meet, even though it was kind of our very first meet off 2 days of practice. But I mean, we adjust to like anything, basically.
Your best 200 time in indoor and outdoor is actually almost exactly the same, 26.85 indoor, 26.84 outdoor. So I'm assuming the weather doesn't seem to really have an effect on you, and maybe moving forward to the outdoor championships, we can expect most of the same we've seen from you throughout your entire career.
Well, I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of being consistent, but I've been consistent with my training, and the more that I consistently train and work with my coaches and follow the plan, my times tend to drop. My times don't drop till conference and later. So like it's kind of frustrating during the like beginning of the season when you look at everyone else PRing and everyone's getting better, and it's kind of like, but I ran the same exact time. So it gets a little frustrating after a while. But that's really it really touched like your mental strongness. So like I gotta like coming in a conference or I come in college strong. Like I did all the training like and it's going to show. It just shows at a different time than everyone else.
Well, I know at least in the indoor, in the 55 meter, you've had a big improvement between last year and this year, so at least the consistency improved there. Liz, the narrative on you seems to be that you've won all the indoor All-Americans, but you still haven't gotten that outdoor one. It's elusive. I know it's really funny. It's an amazing story. What do you have to do to finally make it happen?
It's just kind of been. The past 3 years have been very interesting when it comes to nationals. You look at the entire outdoor season and the nationals will come around and something doesn't click. So I think it's just to remain consistent and to treat it like every other meet. Indoor nationals this year I felt the most comfortable that I have at a national meet, and I just want to carry that over to the outdoor season and just be comfortable there.
Outside of Brooke Patterson, Courtney Meyer, Kelsey Trudson, all people you're awfully familiar with being in the pole vault, what part of the team has impressed you most in recent times, and which part of the team do you think has the best chance to really propel the team to a different level than it's been on all season?
Well, let's see. I mean, our sprints have definitely gotten amazing in the past 4 years since I've been here. Seeing you guys, the 4x1, I'm jealous that I'm not running at it. I miss those events a lot, just sprinting. So I would say watching them and, competing or seeing them compete has been great.
Sade, teams won the outdoor championship 2 years in a row. Now moving into this year's, what do you think you did in the previous two that might help you moving into this year's, and what do you want to take from those previous two and try to implement them in this year's?
Just being team oriented, like when you're at the starting line for your event and then you look over and you see your entire team right there cheering you on from the start of your race to the finish. I feel like having that the first 2 years really helps, especially like I know for indoor, for the 55- finals, I was the last one to make it into finals. And then like my time between prelims and final drastically changed. It's just having them and having that support. It's like it helps you get your mind off things that didn't go right the way that you wanted it to.
I mentioned off the top of the segment, the team hasn't finished first the entire outdoor season. It's a pretty big story, especially for a team that has been so consistently good throughout the years. Liz, looking past the obvious between working hard, staying focused, anything you might say there, what's the one, and be very specific, one most important thing that needs to happen for all of this to change at the most crucial time of the year going into the championship season?
The one big thing.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
You gotta figure it out.
I would say it's team cohesion. Conference is completely different from every other meet. Nationals, every meet leading up to it, it really takes everybody with the same goal, and even when you get down, maybe you didn't perform like you were supposed to, it's about moving on to the next event, the next teammate, to make sure that they're in check and they're feeling positive. So overall, it's really team cohesion at this meet.
Sade, don't hate me, but I'm going to put you on the spot too, and you can't use the answer team cohesion.
Well, I would have to say mental strongness, because this is the mental testing point. We've done all the training, so it's like we're not conditioning no more. It's kind of just being like positive, positive self-talk, like our mental imagery, like really taking that serious, because that's kind of that makes that difference between first place and second.
All right, well, thanks so much for being on today, and with championship season on the horizon, I'm hoping you guys can really pull things out here in the end.
Thank you.
All right, the CCIW Outdoor Championships are next for the women's track and field team. So championship season is in full swing. For the latest on it, as always, at NCTV17 on Twitter or NorthCentralCardinals.com. Thanks for watching. This has been the Cardinal Report.